good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to the Armory. Welcome to my preview lounge. And today, as always, bring an opposition fan on. And today we have Craig from. I know you're a Bournemouth fan, but if I try to remember what your channel's called, I will get so lost.
That's all right. It's called Up the Cherries in all departments. It's quite an old saying in Dean Court. So UTC IAD is an abbreviation that you'll see a lot of Bournemouth fans coming out with. So yeah, that's what it's pretty much named after, a very, very old chant.
Well, thank you ever so much for coming on and agreeing to my invitation. It's great talking to opposition fans. You know, as I said before we went on it, I don't do banter. I just want to know a bit more about your club, try and educate us a little bit more about your guys. But also, guys, I have put his link in the description. So please go and hit subscribe if you can. That would be fantastic. Let's quickly get into two comments that have come up. Timmy he's happy that he's first. Big up to you and big up to James. Hope you're doing well, mate. So obviously, 2 days. Is it 2 days' time we're playing you on Saturday, aren't we? I'm getting so confused with these fixtures now. I'm getting totally lost.
Yeah.
Because we only played last night, and I'm already doing a preview for the next one. So how are you feeling right now about the game? Because I want to go into your team a bit more detail in a minute, but how are you feeling about the game after we demolished Everton last night?
Well, to be honest, we're in a run that we had earlier on in the season. Well, after the first game of the season, where it was Man City, Arsenal, then Liverpool. We've got that same run at this time. So I'm nervous. I've got to be completely honest. I'm very, very nervous, mainly because of our position in the table. We don't want our goal difference to get much worse because that is effectively that's going to be a point that we're going to be behind, really, because it is worse than every team out there at the moment, and we need to improve that. I think Everton will struggle. I think Southampton will struggle, but still they've got better goal differences than we have. So we've got to just make sure that we don't get a hammer in. But it is effectively a bonus game for us. We don't expect anything from the Emirates. But what I am hoping for is a performance and not doing what we did in the first 10 minutes at Dean Court earlier on in the season, just sit right back, allow Arsenal time to play in front of us. That was a Scott Parker tactic. And of course, we did that the following week against Liverpool, and well, that went well.
Right, we'll get into our fixtures, previous fixtures with you guys in a minute. I just want to say big up to Munsey. Hope you're doing well. Long story why he calls me Bazza, but it will always continue to be Bazza for me. But my name is always Bobby, will always be Bobby, never Bazza. But to Munsey, it always will be Bazza. Big up to Rebel. Hope you're doing well, mate. So yeah, I have actually, because I always do this for all these lounge shows, and I should do it for the preview as well. Do the previous home fixtures. Now, I was quite surprised. Now, obviously, my family supported Arsenal for over 100 years. So
yeah,
I was quite shocked that we've only played you 5 times at home in the league. I know we played one more time, I think, in a cup game, which I don't put cup games on it because they're different. Mm-hmm. But I was quite shocked, to be honest. Because funny story about Bournemouth. I celebrated a birthday down in Bournemouth. A comedian that is I shouldn't have seen when I was so young, probably when I was down there. So Bournemouth has always had a little soft touch. Jamie and Harry Redknapp as well, obviously big fans of those two as well. But these are the previous 5, and obviously I've put up top how many times we've played you in our whole history. Only 13 times.
Yeah,
and we've only lost you once. Now. To be honest, I was so surprised because I was like, but then I was thinking, actually, Bournemouth haven't been as big a club for a very long time, really.
I still don't think we are, Bobby. I think we're at this moment in time, we are a small fish in very, very big ponds. What we are hoping to become And of course, you probably all heard the buyout by Bill Foley of the Vegas Golden Knights. He is definitely hoping to enhance our reputation, um, be able to attract fans from across the area. And what's quite funny is we might be a small club, but we've probably got one of the biggest catchment areas going, because apart from Southampton, you think of any other teams in this area. Somerset have got no football league teams at all. Devon, even up, wow, the closest is Plymouth. Well,
Yeah.
Exeter actually, that way. So we've got such a big catchment area. It used to annoy me a little bit because in the Daily Echo, it used to have, and it used to have these adverts for fans to go and watch Southampton
Mm.
advertising, that go to St Mary's, watch Premier League football or Championship football as it was. And what we're going to be trying to do, I believe, under Bill Foley is, firstly, we need to get the stadium sorted,
Yeah.
increase that. I think a new stadium is on the agenda anyway. The training ground is ongoing. So what that means is the training ground gets built at Camford Magna and the existing one gets knocked down and we can start building the stadium. And I'm sure that will get planning permission from the council. I don't think there'll be any issues about that. We can't be kicked out of our existing stadium. We don't own it at the moment. So it's quite exciting times. It is quite exciting times. But we have been such a small team for so long. And I remember that win at Dean Court against Arsenal. It's a 2-1 win, if I'm correct in thinking. It was it's amazing that we are competing against teams of your size, when considering our ground isn't that much bigger than AFC Wimbledon's, really.
Yeah. It is. I think what you're doing is amazing. And to be honest, you're one of the clubs. I don't want to promote a certain gaming game, the thing that you can play on the certain game console. I'm trying not to say any names here, just to get in trouble. But Bournemouth are one of the teams I like to choose because it's such a small stadium. It kind of restricts what you can do as well, so it makes your life a little bit harder. But I do love it. But I will say something that you did say about no football teams in Somerset. I'm pretty sure Yeovil Town are in North Somerset, aren't they?
They're not Football League anymore.
Yeah, but I still class them as a team.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. But I think we've got such a catchment area.
Yeah, you do.
In fact, they were promoted at the same time as we were to the Championship. So, we shouldn't be too harsh on them. But, the journey we've been on is remarkable. And to actually get to this point, it was quite sad, how it all happened in that season. We got relegated. We got relegated during COVID, if you remember.
Yeah.
Of course, Ryan Fraser, forever be hated in this part of Dorset, for his part of that. It was rumoured actually that he was being tagged to go to Arsenal.
Okay.
I think you
Yeah.
dodged the bullet
That-
there, but
yeah.
yeah, it was. He decided he wasn't going to play the remaining games. Eddie Howe looked a very broken man. We had Hawkeye. We shouldn't make excuses because we should have picked up more points during the rest of the
Yeah.
season. But at the same time, it was such a sad way to bow out. But we're back. But we've got to somehow scrape enough points together to get to 17th.
Yeah.
That's the target for me. I don't think we'll go much beyond that. 16th, 15th would be nice, but anything 17th would be fine, as
Yeah.
long as we don't go down.
Okay, we'll get into because thinking about, I've just thought of another question that I want to ask you when I get onto your team in a minute. Rebel saying, "Come on, Bournemouth." He is a United fan, so I don't expect anything different from him. James has asked a question here about Traore. How has he been for you guys since coming in January? I'll
Do
let
you
you
know
answer that
what?
now.
If you was going to ask me about signings, Traore is the best signing that we've made in the January window. Of course, signed from Sassuolo. He was a loan signing, but with a view to have it permanent. Now, if we go down, if that clause still exists, because that's all being agreed, I don't know. But if we stay up, definitely, we have got the option of just signing permanently. And he seems to really enjoy it here. Against Manchester City, he was turning their defence. What he does is he kind of backs into the defence and then turns them. And he's quite a skillful player as well. He cuts in. He's not afraid. And I think he's got such a talent for such a young player that we've got somebody exciting on our hands here, and that is why staying in the Premier League is so important. Because another player that we signed in January, and this one was a little bit more controversial because Bill Foley owns 30% in Lorient, the French side, done very, very well. And there was a lot of talk about a number of players joining from Lorient, but we got Dongo Atara, um, right midfielder, very, very quick, very skillful. He is an international for Burkina Faso and has already created a number of opportunities and set up 2 goals. So, in the space of time he's been here, those two especially are the ones that do stand out. We signed Vina as well. We did sign Anton Semenyo. Um, also signed a Ukrainian centre back as well, who has got a lot of prospects. And then of course Darren Randolph as well, who joined from West Ham. He's just really a backup goalkeeper, but it's exciting times here. I think if we stay up, Bill Foley will spend more money. I think we'll become more competitive. But if he was to follow any model in the Premier League, you would look at Brighton and Brentford as the model that he's trying to adapt. So buy young players, progress them, get them far in as to where we want to be. And then I don't know if his plan is to sell him on, or if he's thinking, well, he's multi-billionaire. He's one of the, well, he is the owner of Kenai Holdings, which is a American investment firm, and what he's done in business is very, very shrewd, daring at times. All you have to do is look at the Vegas Golden Knights, and you're talking about an NHL team, an ice hockey team in the middle of the desert. Now, that's why I think he's the perfect person for Bournemouth, because he's got this club who are unfashionable, have always been struggling, have always been skint their entire existence. Yeah, all right, maybe the past 10 years we've been treated a little bit, but before that we were always skint. We was always playing at the current Dean Court, believe it or not, is a lot nicer than the old Dean Court, which was falling to pieces. So we're the sort of story of, and it's got Michael B. Jordan with him as well now, taking this club that have always been on their backsides, who have got this story, and trying to take them on another level. And it'd be amazing just to see how far he can take us.
I'm looking forward to it. I love the fact you've got a very good new owner as well. There are some not so great new owners that have come into the world, but there we go. Big up to Tony. Good evening, Bobby, and welcome, Craig. Big up to Carl. Hope you're doing well. He'll be joining me tomorrow for the other preview. Tony saying Weymouth FC. They're massive. Bear in mind, Tony lives in Weymouth. So, yeah. Big up to Carl. Big up to Moss. And bringing a lad in too. I don't know what that means. Oh, Cherry born. Got you. Right. Got you. Yeah. Utura has been nice speed and billing being rather good today. Who you guys going to be starting? Oh, crikey. I don't think we need to worry about who's starting just yet. Let's go from Bargav. Big up to you. I'm going to ask this question to every guest you have on now, Bobby. Craig?
Oh, wow. No. To be honest, Carl, I would say wait until we're playing Leeds or someone like that. I would against Arsenal. If there was two players that you would put in your fantasy Premier League team, I would say probably Atara and probably Traore. Solanke, is a good striker, but at the same time, I don't. I think he's going to have a bit of a torrid time against Arsenal. Um, I would say you don't really want to put any of the defence or the goalkeeper in there, especially if Arsenal you've just dispatched of Everton 4-0.
Yeah.
Albeit Everton are crap. So
He said that, not me.
no, honestly, we played Everton twice in a row, and we've had them in the League Cup, and then we had them in the Premier League. The League Cup game and they had a stronger team out than we did. We made quite a few changes. We beat them 4-1. And then in the Premier League, we beat them 3-0 when they decided, well, I just, when we decided that we was going to play our full strength team, they're just, Everton were terrible. And I think they've probably got the only manager who is going to have any chance of getting them out of that.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be found out.
Sadly, I hope, because obviously we can't say too much about how bad Everton are due to the fact they did beat us as good as a part not that long ago, which was a crazy performance.
How? I don't understand it.
Honestly, it was like they swapped them all for Avengers or something, because that performance from them, but ours was awful. So balancing it out, doesn't surprise me, unfortunately. Bargav asked a question there, but I think it's about goal difference for you, wasn't it? Keeping you mainly up. I need to improve that.
I've got an answer to that, really.
Yeah, go for it.
The biggest challenge that we have got is, probably remember me saying about how Scott Parker went too defensively. Gary O'Neill. Now, I'm a big fan of Gary's. He's a lovely guy. I've met him on a couple of occasions. And I think he's got a really good future in management. Is that future here? Probably not. And the reason why I say that is that against Forest and against Brighton, there was no need for him to do what he did. And Forest, we were 1-0 up. He's gone all defensive, like Scott Parker used to. Went defensive to try and keep that 1-0 lead. What happens? We invite Forest onto us, we concede. Brighton, even worse, we're on top during that game. And, Brighton had quite a few players out, but we was performing well. 10 minutes to go, like in the Forest game, he goes defensive. We concede. That is the biggest issue, and against Manchester City, we played 5 at the back. It does not work for this football club. Eddie Howe has ingrained into this football team for so long, attack, we'll score more goals than you. You look at the games throughout the years, yeah, we've had some beatings, but at the same time, we've had some fantastic results. We was 3-1 down against Everton. We drew 3-0 with them. And that was when they were good. Liverpool, we managed to come back and win 4-3 against them. Of course, we beat Arsenal 2-1 at Dean Court. Beat Manchester United a couple of times. So Chelsea, we blew off the park once, playing that way, just on the front foot. Just keep going. Don't be scared of these teams. I think at times, Gary O'Neill, like Scott Parker, and probably Gary to a lesser extent, goes all nervous, goes all defensive, and it just does not work. Scott Parker did it sometimes last season. I think being quite critical of Scott Parker, yet he did get us up. We're thankful for that. But if he hadn't have done what he did in some of those games, we could have won that league last season. We should have won that league last season. Against Reading, for example, we should have been 5-0 up. We only was 1-0 up, but that happens. Second half, Scott Parker makes the defensive change, and we invite all the pressure onto us from a team that weren't particularly very good, and concede. Could have ended up losing that game. Against Peterborough, we did the same. Derby, we actually did lose that game. So the defensive side does not work. Just playing all out defence. I'd rather us just play like we did with Eddie in charge and just go for it. Go with the flow. He's showing it's successful at Newcastle as well. So that's what is going to cause us to go down.
Okay. Yeah. Bargo, I'm going to have to totally disagree with you due to the fact half my family support West Ham. So I don't know. No, I just couldn't see that happening.
Do you know what? What's funny about that is quite a few of my family do as well.
Yeah, it's just it'd be painful. My granddad used to live outside Upton Park, so the flats. So yeah, it's just no, I couldn't see it happening. Yeah. And I'm named after Bobby Moore, so there's too many West Ham links with me. So no, right. Big up to Colb saying, make sure to like and subscribe and share to the Army. Yes, the Army are on the road to 1,000, and the Full Time Sports Network is on the road to 600 now. So big up to both of those channels, which I am on both. Has the actor Michael Jordan wanting to get these lads straight up, isn't he? Yes, he is that guy. Yes, yep. That's the one. He's on about NHL now. We're not going into that. Liverpool are trash. Why are you saying that? Right. It's just making me say that, I reckon. It's amazing to see Bournemouth go from playing clubs like Doncaster Rovers in 2014 to playing Prem football week in, week out.
Yeah. It is. When I think back to that -17 season, wow. The second penultimate game where in our survival bid was against Chester City. They don't even exist no more. During that season, Aldershot, Grimsby was the game where we actually stayed up, and that was thanks to Steve Fletcher, who's still at the club. It's remarkable. It's a remarkable story. To be honest, Doncaster Rovers, at that time was quite a fixture to look forward to. With their new stadium, something that we could only dream of, really.
Yeah, well, Colm is actually from Doncaster, so he actually goes to watch Donny Rovers.
Oh, fair enough. To be honest, Colm, you wasn't it wasn't the worst of the fixtures. To be honest, you was probably one of the better ones.
And as you have actually answered one of my questions, I will put Tony's question to you now. Craig's thoughts on Jayden Anthony, as there were whispers of Arsenal looking at him. I've seen him for the few games he played for Weymouth. He was brilliant for their promotion to the Vanarama North National League in 2020. So what do you think of him?
He's an outstanding player. Now he is really, really good friends and with Jordan Zamora. And in fact, they're actually roommates, Jordan Zamora and Jayden Anthony. Personally, when we were promoted to the Premier League, I thought Jordan Zamora would take to the Premier League better than Jayden would.
Okay.
I was wrong. I think Jayden has been excellent so far this season. He's scored goals. He's not been afraid to take players on. His link-up play when Jordan Zamora is behind him is first class. So the two of them work well in unison. But I think Jayden Anthony has got a lot more about him. He has recently signed a new contract, so hopefully that will wade off some of the speculation. But I wouldn't be surprised. And I wouldn't be surprised if those two go together because they work well as a pair. Jordan Zamora hasn't signed a new contract. Jayden has, but I think I think Jaden is, a very, very good player. Still a lot to learn. Still a lot to learn in the game, but he will get there. And I wouldn't bet against him playing for a team like Arsenal in the future.
Okay, fair enough. Colm saying, yeah, it was when I went to the home and away games. Donny. Big up to Tamba Levy. I'm happy with our Arsenal team is playing, and I hope all our players will stay fit till the end of the season. So do I. And what's he saying? And that Liverpool a trash comment was there because they are. And I had a feeling you might have set me up there. What Craig doesn't know is we are sister channels with a Liverpool channel, a Tottenham channel, and a Man United channel. So yeah, I'm sure he's probably going to send this to the Liverpool lads and just set them on me. But let's get into the questions for you now. As you did answer the second one, so I'll just go into the first one now. How are you feeling about Bournemouth's season so far?
It's a little bit of a mixed bag. To be honest. Started off well with that first game. Scott Parker. To be fair, after that Liverpool defeat, I got a call from Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton on the way home. Was on Radio 606, and my view was out there for everybody to see. I thought Scott Parker needed to be sacked that evening.
Okay.
The main reason being was probably the manner of the defeat. That we just shown too much respect to Liverpool. But the biggest one of all was the comments afterwards. When you take into account that we have players like Jordan Zamora, Jaden Anthony, Marcus Tavernier, young players who, are looking up to a manager like Scott Parker, professional, who was a good player in his day. And he's turned around and he said, we should be expecting more defeats like this. We need more players. What is that going to do for, a team? I know that journey back from Liverpool was very, very quiet. And that there was a lot of unhappy players, after that game. I think that's why, and the club agreed with me because, of course, they did sack Scott Parker straight after that. It wasn't the first time he did that, and he did say it before, the season began. He turned around and said, "We need more signings." He got a signing in Senesi. Got his centre back that he wanted, and if he had kept his mouth shut, there was a chance that he would be staying. And with Bill Foley just round the corner, he would have got what he wanted. Now, personally, I think Gary O'Neill come in, got the best result he could do after a 9-0 thrashing, which is a 0-0 draw. Keep a clean sheet. It wasn't great against Wolves, but it was a performance, where we could say, right, okay, we're proud, we do belong here, we can do something here. And then he picked up from there, and I thought, wow, that's good. So, after what was, a fantastic first win of the season, that rocky bit there with Scott Parker, things were looking to be quite promising. Come to the World Cup, we did get beat out by Southampton before that, unfortunately, and I'll come back to those results against Leeds and Spurs as well, because that does follow in after the World Cup. He hasn't really got the momentum going at all. He seems a little bit lost. I think, because there has been quite a few injuries, but personally, I don't think he's done the right things since being back. And I think a lot of it comes back to this defensive side of things, which, to be fair, if I look at it, he did the same against Spurs, did the same against Leeds. Leeds we were 3-1 up against. And I think it was probably about 20 minutes ago, we ended up losing 4-3. And against Spurs, we were 2-0 up, ended up losing 3-2 because of this defensive mindset that, hasn't worked. And so it's a mixed bag. There's a lot of positives in there. The players are doing, what they're, and there's been some really, really good performances. The performance, okay, yeah, we drew against Fulham, and some people turn around and say, "Oh, against Fulham, we conceded twice, we pegged back twice." Actually, I think we played very, very well up there, and Solanke and Billings link-up play was outstanding that whole game. So there's been some real positives, but there's also been quite a few very big negatives.
It's a shame because there's other clubs that I'd rather go down than Bournemouth, if I'm perfectly honest. I just hope you do pick it up. Not this Saturday, obviously. This Saturday, sorry, you got to lose, but hopefully after that. Right. So, what are Bournemouth's strengths that could hurt Arsenal, in your opinion?
I think Dongo Atara, he's running down the right, and probably to a lesser extent, Jaden Anthony on the left-hand side. Those two being able to whip balls in, that is danger. Traore just behind Solanke though, and we saw some glimmers of that in the Man City performance. We've seen that before from Traore as well, where he can turn the players, he backs onto the players, turns them. I think those three are the danger. I think Phil Billing has been playing a little bit subpar at the moment, so I
Okay.
wouldn't worry too much about him. Lerma is back to his best. He's tough tackling. I think, the main strength is that three-pronged attack of Traore, Atara, and Jaden Anthony, providing a supply to Solanke. That I think is probably going to be the route we'll go with. But you never know. You never know. I just hope we don't go with a back five and one of those players is left out because we do go defensive.
Okay. Now, this sometimes can take the opposition fan a little longer. Your weaknesses at the moment, mate.
Defense. It has been strengthened a little bit. I know that sounds crazy after a 4-1 defeat against Manchester City, but I think what we're susceptible from, and this is why I think there's a question of whether or not Trossard or Nketiah plays for Arsenal on Saturday.
Correct.
I think, if I was Mikel Arteta and after watching the Bournemouth games, I'd probably have gone with Nketiah because from set pieces, we're quite poor. We have been quite poor this season. We've not been very good at defending those. We have bought in Jack Stevens alongside Senesi now. So that is looking a lot better. Stevens is on loan, actually, believe it or not, from Southampton. And I think, if we stay up, they go down, I would bite their hand off to sign him. I know he might not be the marquee signing that every Bournemouth fan would like. He's not the name. He's not a youngster, so to speak, but he's that sensible head. And I think, that would be a good bit of business. But still, defensively, we have conceded so many goals. We've conceded more than everybody else. And I think that's the real danger. Neto in goal is good, but I would say that is the danger. I would say as well, what's a bit of a shame is Phil Billing has kind of dropped off a little bit because Billing was very, very good earlier on in the season. Against Manchester City, I don't know what he was doing, but for their third goal, he decided he was going to pass across the face of the goal. Now, any coach in world football will tell you that is the most ridiculous thing to do, is to pass it across the goal, especially against a team like Manchester City, who will just jump on that ball. It was the easiest goal they could ever score. So I think maybe ruffling his feathers a little bit You know, because I think he's one of those confidence players. If Arsenal do that, they could take him out of the game quite easily at this moment in time.
Okay, so I'm guessing when it comes to score prediction time, you're not looking forward to saying what you want to say about that in a bit.
I'm gonna remain consistent. I've already spoken to a couple of Arsenal fans already today, and I'm gonna stay consistent with what I say.
Okay.
But yeah, I will hold off for the moment, and you tell
Yeah,
me when you want the score
we'll get it.
prediction.
We'll get it later.
But
Yeah, we'll get that 'cause I always write them down as well. Colm saying I would never do that with the Liverpool fans. I know you would. I know you, Colm. Big up to Luca. Happy birthday as well, mate. Because I'm pretty sure it's your birthday. Big up to Payal Dutta. Hope you're doing well. Evening to Brenny. He's joining me tomorrow with Cole to do the Arsenal preview with the Armory lads tomorrow. And Bournemouth should sign me up. I will help keep them up. Bear in mind, he's a goalkeeping coach, so that's why he's saying about that. Right, I did warn Craig about the challenge, and everyone loves the challenge. Moss, if you're still listening, you know you love it because you always take part in it. Here we go. Let's get the video up and running. Okay, one rule of the game, you have to choose the home team's formation. So because Arsenal are home, we go with the Arsenal formation. So I'm going to choose the 5. Well, you choose the 5 from Bournemouth first, please, Craig.
Right, okay. I think right wing.
Yeah.
I think we've got to go with Dongo Atara.
Okay. Oh, here we go. This is going to be fun, isn't it?
It's Ouatt.
Oh, is it O?
Yeah, Ouatt.
Oh,
There
okay.
he is.
There we
Dongo.
go. Brilliant. I always have problems with certain names.
Believe it
That's
or
fine.
not, it's and Mark McAdam had to correct me with this. I believe it's Dongo Watara, but it's spelled Atara. But the first name, if you look at it, it looks like Dango. So
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it's a French saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your second player, please, Craig.
Well, I'm trying to think where I can fit him in at this moment.
See, this is why it's a challenge.
This is a challenge because I had it all written up, and in fact, I was scribbling up the Arsenal players that I probably would put in there as well.
Everyone thinks it's so easy until they start it.
No, it's not. Are you not able to move one of the centre midfielders up a little bit? Or?
No, has to be our formation exactly.
I think he'll be able to play there anyway.
Yeah,
I think
that's what you
be
can
able
do.
to play there.
Yeah.
Centre midfielder, Hamid Traore.
Is it Hamari? Yeah. No, it's not him, is it?
No.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Got you.
There he is.
Right. Your third player, please, Craig.
Well, I'm going to go left back. Jordan Zamora.
Is that like Bobby Zamora?
Zamora is Z-E.
Z-E.
Yeah, M-U.
M-U. Oh, there we go.
There he is.
Cool. See, you're educating me now to spell certain names. Right, your fourth player, please, Craig.
I don't think I can put a centre back in there. No, I don't think I could put our right back in there. And I want the Arsenal goalkeeper to be the goalkeeper of this team.
Okay.
Because for sentimental reasons as well.
Fair enough.
I think Jadon Anthony has got to go on the left wing.
Yeah. Now, is it a TH or is it without the H?
TH, yeah.
Let's see if I can find him. It's not going to be that easy, is it? No, I don't think so. Oh, there he is.
There we are.
Bonus. Right. And your fifth and final Bournemouth player, please.
Right. I don't want to see. I'm thinking of where the Arsenal players are going to go as well. So I don't want to. I think striker. You've got to put the an Arsenal striker up front.
Okay.
It's either centre midfield or a defensive midfielder, and he can play. He can play in this position as well. So my final choice, defensive midfielder, Jefferson Lerma.
Yep. There we go. Cool. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to guess we're going for Ramsdale.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. Right back, your choice. So it's either Tommy or Ben White. See, I love the fact that you're thinking about that, because most people just go bish bash bosh, but you think about it because it is close to call between both of them now.
I think I'll go Ben White.
Okay. There we go. So I'm going to guess you mean by Gabriel and Saliba at the centre backs.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, Saliba all day long. Yeah, Saliba all day long.
Just want to make sure, because I do want it to be your team, not mine. So just want to make sure, because some people might want to choose Holding. You never know. Right, the last centre midfielder. Who are you going to put there?
Well, this is where it gets difficult, and this is difficult because you could throw in there Jorginho, you could throw in there Odegaard, you could throw in their Party.
Yeah.
Granit Xhaka you could throw in there as well, but I don't, I think, seeing as it's down to me, I really like this guy, and I think this is one of the reasons why Arsenal are in the position they are in. Martin Odegaard. Okay. I think he's good. I think he's really, really good.
Absolutely fine. Now, obviously, you can choose Jesus, or if you want to choose Eddie, that's up to you. I'll let you choose. Or you can even put Trossard or Martinelli up front as well. Don't want to rule those two out either. But it's whoever you want.
Martinelli's been on fire this season.
Yeah.
Jesus has been quality. See, this is where it's difficult as well, because Saka. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I've missed Saka out.
Yes, you have.
It's like, but where do I put? Because I don't think you could put Solanke up front over Jesus and Martinelli. I don't think Nketiah would be. I think he probably should play against us because we're quite poor from set plays.
Yeah.
Trossard, I think, I know of Trossard, from his time at Brighton.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be him. It's one of the other two. And I am tempted at this moment in time, how he's playing. Oh. With how he's playing, Martinelli, but at the same time, I think Jesus is a better striker.
Right. So what one do you want to... I love the fact
you're at this moment in time, let's say Jesus isn't going to be playing, as I've found. I thought he might have been back for this match, but I understand that he's still going to be out.
Yeah, I think he might be appearing on the sub-bench maybe next week, possibly.
I'm going to go with Martinelli.
Okay. All right. So this is Craig's challenge. We've got Ramsdale in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Samura, Lerma, Traore, Odegaard. How do you say his name again? Utara.
Atara or Watara.
Okay.
Watara. Don't go at Watara.
And then Anthony and Martinelli. Now, I actually think that's quite a good squad, personally, again. I will be saving this and I will be putting it up against tomorrow's challenge. I think it'll be Brenny and Cole doing it tomorrow, and I'll decide who wins. But I actually quite like that because it's youthful as well, and that is.
He's a young side, isn't it? It's
it is
very,
actually.
very young side.
And I love Jefferson Lerma. Have for years. He's quality. Yeah. How you managed to get him is amazing coup for me because he is just quality.
He's a lovely guy as well. Absolutely lovely guy. He's always got time for fans. He's not very popular in Sheffield, I'll say. But I don't know if you guys know the story with regards to Sheffield Wednesday, but supposedly had a nibble on one of their players, which I think was the biggest load of bollocks going. So yeah, I think yeah, he's a lovely guy, so down to earth. He's got time for everybody.
Tony has taken part in the challenge. He's gone for Neto in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Samura, Lerma, Billing, Odegaard, Saka, Anthony, and Jesus. Has he got enough Bournemouth in there?
That's interesting.
Yeah, he has.
That is interesting because
I quite like what he's done there.
Yeah, but I would question Billing at this moment in time.
Okay.
I can see why he's done it because earlier on in the season, Billing was playing well. He's a confidence player. His head goes down. I think that's when we're in trouble. Against Leicester, thinking back to that game, he did actually score in that match, but for a long period of time, he was absolutely useless because I think, his confidence was right down there. And at this moment in time, I'm a little bit worried that he's in a similar sort of situation. When he's on a roll, he's brilliant. He is, without a shadow of a doubt, excluding the new players that we've signed, he's the most talented player in our squad. But I think his confidence does drop, and that is a big concern for me.
Okay. Right. 2 more questions. Score prediction will be the last one. This one first. Who do you think will win the Premier League this season? Honestly, you can say whoever you want. I don't care if it's not Arsenal because I still don't. I'm still not even saying it yet. So
I'm going to be completely and utterly honest here. Arsenal.
Okay.
I think you'll win it. I think you'll win it. Even though you was beaten by Manchester City a couple of weeks back, I watched the entirety of that game, and I think that you were much the better side. After Saka scored that penalty, I thought you would go on to win that game. You had more opportunities. I don't think you had as many on target, to be fair, but you was making more things happen. I think as soon as Man City got that second goal, that game they was pretty much put to bed. It was always going to be the team that scores that next goal would go on to win that game, and unfortunately, it was Man City.
Yeah,
I think you have still got the consistency. I think man to man, Man City have probably got better players. Let's be honest, Erling Haaland is, well, he's just a monster, to be fair. But you look at the quality of their players individually, they're probably better man to man. However, what Arsenal have got and what Arteta's built is a team. They all seem to know each other. They all seem to be able to link together with each other. Whereas Man City, I'm not really sure that they've got that there. I think they will probably in the long run. And I think, for next season, Arsenal will need to, if Arsenal win the league, they'll need to strengthen their squad to make sure, because Man City will get things going. But then again, they might not be able to spend any money at all, considering the Premier League charges. There is all sorts of things, but I think Arsenal will win the Premier League this year. and I think it will be very much deserved. You have been the best team I've seen all season. Yes, we got beat 9-0 by Liverpool, but that was our own doing. When you come down to Dean Court, yes, we gave you those first 2 goals, I would say, because we sat back too deep. But I think, the way you controlled the rest of that game, is quality. And I've seen you throughout this season control games, and Saka has come on leaps and bounds. So, yeah, I'm, I think you will, and I'm hoping you will actually.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are hoping. There's a lot of talk. I don't know if you heard the guy on Talk Sport today or yesterday saying all these different excuses why we're winning it. Because no Casemiro and all this. And I'm like, oh, whatever. But it reminds me of when I was an Arsenal fan in the 90s. Everyone hated the Arsenal, and they're hating us again, and that says that we're back. Yeah. So I don't care. Tony's saying, I really hope Bournemouth stays up. Dorset needs a rep in the Premier League. It's obviously bigging up the Dorset massive. Right, now it is time for you to say your score prediction. I will also say mine after you, but I'll let you go first.
I could go with my head or my heart on this.
I will put both. If you put head, I'll put head, and I'll put heart as well, because Tony does exactly the same in the comments.
Well, my heart, I would love to see us get a result. We've only ever beaten you once, like you showed us earlier on.
Yeah.
I would love to get a result up at the Emirates. Head-wise, though, we're not going to. I think we will get beat 3-1. So okay. I think we will score. Will score. I think we're in that momentum where we look dangerous going forwards when we do go forwards. However, it depends what team that Gary O'Neill puts out. If we go too defensive, it could be any result. If we do attack Arsenal, there's always that chance. There's always that slender chance. Like you say, you was below par against Everton.
Yeah.
There's always that possibility that might happen again, and we might catch you on an off day. But even if we catch you on an off day, if we are going to just defend for our lives, we're not going to score. So I'm just hoping we go for it.
So when you say you're hoping, your heart says a result, what are you hoping for? A draw or possibly to beat us?
Well, I would love to see us win at the Emirates.
Yeah.
I would say probably a 2-1 win, but I think that's very highly unlikely.
Well,
very highly unlikely.
Always, Tony does exactly the same sometimes, head and heart. So I, if you're saying it, I'll write it down, and if you're right, I'll big you up anyway. Because there was a couple of close ones last night. Tony definitely was very close last night. He went for 5-0. Just want to get into a couple of comments that have just come in. I'm not a Dorset native, by the way, but his son was born. I'm hoping I've got the right person here. It's either Phil or Graham, so I'm just going to say big up both your names. One of you will be there. I honestly think this could get ugly, especially if Arsenal score first. I would say 4-0. Bournemouth try to play football, to be fair, but it's just difference in quality.
That's an interesting one, because we did used to play football, and that's what Eddie used to do all the time, was play football. Gary O'Neill, Scott Parker, we seem to be in a momentum where, or an era where, if we're playing a team, one of the top teams in the league, we just go all defensive, go within ourselves. And I don't think the football is particularly that great from us. In all honesty, I think we will just sit back and we'll just let you pass it around, and we'll just get picked off with ease. That's what I don't want to happen, and I don't know why it still does. That's maybe why Gary O'Neill shouldn't be in the job at this point in time.
Okay. Well, you've made me help decide what I'm going to go for a prediction now, to be honest. I'm going to go with 3-0 out of respect to Bournemouth because we beat Everton 4-0 last night. I think we'll do one less. So I'm going to go with 3-0. Honestly, I can see you getting a goal, and I can honestly see it's going to be Anthony because that kid is special.
Yes.
But yeah, to be honest, I just really hope that, yes, we want the points for us right now. But after this, I want Bournemouth to get the points that they can because I want them to stay out because I love Bournemouth. It's a lovely part of the country as well. Not just for the football, but it's actually a lovely part of the country. I love it down there.
Yeah, cheers, Bobby.
No worries, mate. But Greg, thank you ever so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
Let everyone know where you are again.
Yeah, of course. So the channel is called UTC IAD, so Up the Cherries in All Departments. So we do previews, we do interviews as well with former players. We've had Harry Redknapp on there as well. We've had Eddie Mitchell, Steve Cook, Steve Fletcher, so all the big names. Also, Trevor Watkins, quite an interesting story there. If you want to know about us and our rags to riches story, where the club was pretty much going to go out of business and there was bailiffs locking the club shop. So if you want to know all about that, do give us a sub and check out the videos and let us know what you think.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. Big up to everyone in the comments. I will be back. I've got to think of when I'm back now. I'm back tomorrow at 7 p.m. with Brenny and Cole. And then Saturday, I'm back on Full-Time Sports Networks for a watch-along of Maidenhead versus Wrexham. And on Sunday, I'm doing Liverpool versus Man United. As you can see, Craig, I cover all sorts of football.
Yeah.
No matter where they are. I had a great one last weekend. I did Real Madrid versus Atletico. Weirdly, totally outshone by the game that I did on Sunday, Rangers versus Celtic, which was brilliant. If anyone got to watch the Viaplay League Cup, what a brilliant game that was. Absolutely fantastic. Tony has subbed to your channel. Big up to Tony. Well done, mate. But as always, it's always come on, you Gunners. Do apologise, Craig, but it has to be done. Come on, you Gunners. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.